Hi everyone and welcome to Rage Print. I'm Andy and this is episode 18 of my chopper build. Think about that then. And in this episode I'm going to be putting the electronics in... Sorry, bird. I'm going to be putting the electronics in Chopper's dome. And this will be the lights in the eyes. This will be the ladder light along the top. Along the side of his dome. And I'll also be hooking up the Maestro, although not programming it, servos. Yeah, hopefully by the end of it we'll have a Chopper's head that lights. Join me, see how we get on. Okay, so we're starting off all the pieces here. We've got the ladder light control board, we've got the ladder light itself, which I printed in clear PLA, and then painted with a red Sharpie. We've got the Wago connector and the Wagos. I've got the nano connector and the nano connector, nano board. Got a cable tidy for those cables there, which is also the LED strip that goes behind the ladder light, like that. And we've got the buck converter, take it down from 12 to 5 volts. Got some screws, and also partly which shows the Maestro board. So, first of all, the nano screws on there. As you can see there, you've got like a hole that goes all the way through. Yeah, just screws through, and then just grab two little wood screws. I honestly can't remember what size screws they were, they're just screws I had hanging around. So yeah, that just screws in like that. And repeat again for the Wago mount, which goes there. As you can see, you've got the two holes, and that just mounts in like that. It should just self-tap into the plastic. Should. There we go. Just like that. Make sure it's keeping flat. You're done. So next step is to mount the ladder light, or rather the LED strip for the ladder light. I think I ended up with 16 LEDs, which is actually slightly too many. Make sure that you solder the end connections, which I'll do now off camera. There we go, magically soldered. Just a bit soldered, and that ends the electrical connection, so it knows that's the end of the strip. And it goes on like that, with the wire pointing out the top as you're looking at it. And then you just glue gun it in. That's really what it needs to be. And keeping it as flat as possible. As you can see, I'm about 3 or 4 LEDs over. I think it's 3. There you go. So it kind of looks like that. Yeah, so I could have knocked 3 or 4 LEDs off and made it shorter and adjusted the code accordingly. So now we hot glue the Wago connectors in. And they are 5s. 5s? Yeah, 5s. So at the moment, I'm trying to work out how much space I've got from the Wago connectors, because they're not the same ones that Tim Evil uses. They're the ones that I had. Yes, they are the same dimensions to fit in, but they've got more of a bulge on the top, so I'm making sure that I can actually open them and not break the pins on the nano. And I can just. I've got to be very careful. Luckily, not many pins are used on that side of the nano. And then this is the clip that covers the top of the nano, stops it slipping back out the mount, and that just screws down. Like so. And then we have the cable tidy, and that just screws onto the side through that hole there, that one there. Again, it's just another wood screw mount. Another wood screw. It just goes on like that. Now obviously I can't get those wires through, but I do get later on put other wires through there. So now we need to mount the buck converter, and this buck converter, although it looks the same as the one that Tim used, it's very slightly different. As in so the holes don't line up. I can get maybe one hole to line up, so I don't even bother using the screws. They're not going to work, so I just glue gun it in, which will work just as well. and it's easy, probably a bit more easily removable. But there you go, buck converter's on. And now I'm trying to place the Maestro. Again, the Maestro is a different size. I think Tim's using a 16, 18. This is a 12, so it's shorter, so it doesn't fit. So can't really mount it like that. Again, I've got the same problem with the Wago connectors with the clips, knock it out. So I'm trying to work out the best way of placing it. Now, I originally think about placing it there, but I'm worried about the curve of the dome. And I think about placing it at the bottom. So not too sure about there. Doesn't quite fit. So I'm going to place it on the bottom. Plenty of room. And it seems like a really good idea at the time. And you'll later see that it's not. So again, that just gets glued on because there is no mount for this now at the bottom. What I have very cleverly done is blocked access to the nano USB, which I will need in a bit. And then the last bit we add on is the ladder light itself. As I said, this is clear PLA, and I've just coloured it with a red Sharpie. And you can see there's a little hole there, and it slides in. And I'm one screw short. So I'm trying to work out where I went wrong. So I just go looking for another screw, find another screw. And this one's too long for there. I realise it's going to cut into the LED strip, so I just flip them around, take that one out, and swap it there. That's a nano mount, hasn't actually got anything going through it. So there, that's the ladder light mount done. So now we're onto the wiring. Just some normal wiring and a wire snips, wire stripper. And these are coming out the buck converter and into the Wago connectors, and this will create a distribution board. And this is where I start struggling a bit with the positioning of the nano. It doesn't quite allow me to open the clip enough to get the cables in, and I have to keep wiggling it around. Eventually I do get them in enough to make electrical connections, but it's always on the negative side, so I know it's the nano that's causing the issues, or rather the size of the Wago connector. If you are going to use this mount, I'd recommend getting hold of the proper Wago ones. These are ones I got from B&Q like several years ago, so it's kind of a no-name. So we've got a power connector here. I've stripped off some servo cables and wire stripped them, and that'll be positive and negative going into the distribution board on the stripped end, and then the other end will go into the nano. And I'm just going to test that the nano powers up. And I get 5 volts out. Yeah, there's the nano powered up. Oh yeah, this is where I've messed around with the wiring to get it to work. So I've got power going out and going to the nano. You can see the little blinking red light. There's no sketch on this nano currently. I'll put it on in a minute. Right, I've coded the nano, and as you can see it's all powered up. Hopefully if I turn this over, it won't turn. No, there we go, turn itself off. Right, if I turn it over, there we go, chopper's ladder light. So that's just using a Larson scanner Cylon effect. It works quite well. Just need to put the black lines in, and then pin 6 here will go off to these for the eyes. Yeah, quite pleased with that. It's working well. And we've got power going to that, which means I can hook up the servos. Okay, so now we're going to hook up the LEDs to the board, and these will be for the eyes. So we've got our board there with all the wiring, and those are going to go off and connect to these, and these are just 7 LED jewels, Adafruit jewels. I had them laying around from my original idea to make a periscope for R2, so they are recycled, and you'll see that causes a bit of an issue later. So I'm just showing you there that I've run out of the colours for red and black, so I'm making sure that white I wasn't actually looking to see what I did in the end. I think white was negative and grey was positive. As long as I follow that same wiring convention throughout, it doesn't really matter. But in the end, I did actually find a red and black that will fit instead. And they will go into another set of Wago connectors, which will go off to distribution, which become a distribution board for the LEDs, for the eyes. That's not the LED in the main eye, but the other two LEDs. There's the other two eyes. So you just get hot glued on, a bit like I did for the other Wago mount. Well, in this case, super glued on. I don't know why I didn't use the glue gun. I just glued my finger together from the super glue. So yeah, that's ready to give power out to the jewels. And then I was messing around with the jewels and realised that I mucked up. So I found two more that I had hanging around and kept the wires and just snipped the ends off. So yeah, I'm just going to snip the, well, I'm going to attempt to remove them, then just end up snipping them off. So strip the ends off. What I'm going to do here. Oh, that's right, I was going to put a new male end and I gave up and didn't do it in the end. I spent a lot of time looking for that as well, even though it was right next to me. So yeah, I'm going to put a male end on the wiring, even though I'm not going to put the black plastic on. Although they're there, I don't put them on in the end. And sorry, I'm not explaining this very well. This is going to go back into the Wago board, into the Wago connectors that I super glued earlier, and that gives me my power to both LEDs because they're wired in series. So I'm just mucking around with that. And then I've also, the data is wired in together as well, so they hops from one to the next. In nano code that recognises it as 14 LEDs. So just something to bear in mind when you do this yourself, that the ladder light, so the red light INO file, it's 14 LEDs and it's 7 per eye. As you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm soldering in a female servo wire connector. They've got proper names, I just can't think what they are. And that will enable me to disconnect it, put them into the eye. So as you can see there, they're not wired in series, are they? They're wired to the Wago connectors, that's why I got 3. It's the data that's wired in series. So I'm just stripping the wires off now. And they'll go into the Wagos, and then I should be able to power it on. Sorry, this is what you get for recording a voiceover about a week and a half after you make the video. Yeah, so I'm powering them up now. I do decide to put the male end on. I think it's just to get around the fact that I wasn't getting a very good electrical connection, and I'm not very good at using this. I know the theory of how to use it, just always needs to crush the cable clip. I think more practice needed. But I wanted to make sure I've got a good electrical connection. I was just having so many problems with just bare wire because it's so thin and the Wago hole is quite big. Just trying to give it as much as a... See, I'm really struggling with that. There we go. No, I do try putting those on. Thought I didn't bother in the end. So they're hooked up. And I'll do the same for the negatives. The problem I'm finding with that is that I put the connector in with the points facing up. Not going to work very well me explaining, but the points facing up with the wire in, and then as I crimp it, the crimp just pushes the clips apart rather than pushing them together. So I don't know if I'm doing something quite wrong there. Maybe they should be given upside down so the clips are facing down. I have to rewatch a few videos on how to do it. I mean, they work, don't get me wrong, they work, they're just a bit of pain to get into the plastic connectors. So we go, that's the negatives wired up, and then we can plug them all in. Carefully, just not to break them. And I'm also trying not to tangle them up as well, trying to keep them as so they don't cross over each other as much as possible. When they're in the body, it's less of a problem. Yeah, that's the negatives in. And then the positives. And trying to make sure that they're in securely. Then we power up using my really clever battery connector, i.e. blue tack. These I need to sort this out, and I never do. Right. Tidy up a bit so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then we power up. There we go, and nothing. Kind of, yeah, one of them's working, kind of as off green colour, which I later realised meant there's not enough power getting through, as in not enough amperage getting through. Which in a bit I plugged the Nano in directly to a USB cable power supply, and it lights up fine. But yeah, it takes me a while to realise what the hell's going on, and I realise it's literally just a case of there's not enough power left in that little LiPo. Because I can see the ladder light's not even working properly either. It's kind of just blinking. I think at one point I do redo the connections and it turns itself on properly, but just here I think. That's right, I redo the connections, plug them in properly, and then I think I get some nice blue, there we go, got nice, one of them nice blue light. And I think I fill around the other one. This is what I meant about the Wago connectors getting decent electrical connection with such small wires. And plus my crimping's pretty bad as well, so it's learn how to crimp before you do anything like this. Don't try and crimp on the job. I'm trying to pull that, the bit of black plastic came out, so I'm just pulling that out and going bare wire. And is there any other negatives at this problem? Positives are fine. There we go, you just see a flash of blue light there. And I do the same on the negative on the coming out of the Maestro as well. And there we go, I think we've got two blues, we've certainly got a blue. And that one's still not working. Yeah, I think this is the point I realise is the battery is not drawing enough power. And now I'm just trying to work out how that's supposed to go in, and I'll realise that I've soldered the wire directly to the two joules, so I can't disconnect it. So what I quickly do is disconnect everything and desolder the male pin on one of the joules, and this is where I put the female one in. I said I did this like a week and a half ago, suffering from COVID, and I can't quite remember what I did. But anyway, yeah. So the female connector goes in, and that enables me to disconnect the data connection, allowing me to put the joules into the eye sockets. Just tidying up the solder that's on there. and hook it back up. So the blue's still, one of them's still working, but I have actually got it all working. So I think at this point, am I using USB power? Yeah, so that's working. It's just the battery's flat. All done. And now I've realised that that's in the wrong place, so I'm going to move it. And I've got to do the blue LED. So I'm using a 100 ohm resistor and a 5mm blue LED. And that's going to go in the eye socket there. Like that. More like that. Down, down, down. Here we go. So the LED goes in there, and the resistor goes onto the long arm, which is the positive. So I just cut them down slightly. Try and use my soldering hands, and they're not going to work, so I have to do it this way. I do have helping hands as well, I just didn't get them out for some reason. Doing it this way. It's a lot harder than it needs to be. There we go. That's the 100 ohm resistor onto the positive arm, positive leg. And just hook the wiring up. So I'm just going to put some heat shrink on just to protect the resistor and the solder connections. I've turned the soldering iron down for this, so it's still warm enough to do the heat shrink, but not going to remelt the solder. And then I just solder on the negative wire, ground wire, whatever you want to call it. And heat shrink that as well. And they get plugged directly into the Maestro. So now we hook up some power again. Now both blue LEDs are working for some reason, but the LED still isn't working. And then I realised that Maestro needs the jumper doing. And as soon as I do that, the blue LED works. As I said, that's just been powered directly off the Maestro. It's not going to. It could do some animations with that, I suppose, just by turning the LED on and off. That is ready to go. Right, I'm going to start mounting stuff in the dome. It's going to be a little awkward to film, so I'm going to do the best I can. Probably a little better. I'll tilt the dome if I remember while I'm going. So I've got two of the eyes in. They're not hot glued in. I think it's worth hot gluing them in now. Yeah, okay, I'll hot glue them in now. I'm going to hot glue the LED in here before I try and hot glue it in there, because it's right there. And I've got the periscope in the way. Might be a case of putting a thin bead of hot glue around there and just popping it in. Mike said something about using a 3D welding pen. Okay, yeah, we'll get there. So I think the first thing is to mount this. Wires everywhere, and I kind of want to work out how long a wire is. So go this way, this. Oh wow, really not a lot of room, is there? You go there. Go there. Yes. Wow, that clips in. I was going to hot glue that in. Right. Jeez. going to work with. Right, so you're the lighting, the two eyes, so you need to come this way. LED right in front of me. I think that wire's long enough as it is. I've also got these bits as well, which is very similar to idea to that body. And the idea being it gets clips into the dome somewhere. Anywhere, I guess, probably. Probably under the eyes, just sort of here. So these are whole small. I'm going to call them Wago connectors, even though they're not Wago. What's called the Wago connectors, and they will provide power from the slip. So this will connect directly into the slip ring, or to the mag tag, I should say, which currently looks like that. But yeah, so I'm thinking if I put it there. I'm working out as I go. Got a natural ledge from where they print. Glue back together, so that's a good place to start. Right. First things first. How secure is? Right, that's not very secure. So that's fine. So let's hot glue that into place, and a hot glue rather than normal glue because I want to be able to remove this. Probably a lot of brute force and ignorance, but I need to be able to remove it. Eyes. All these servo wires get plugged into here. Plugged into that wire strip there. I want to come this way. Right, there's plenty of room as it is. Look at that. Okay, you're going to need to be unplugged anyway because I'm feeding through to the back of these things anyway, so they sit there like that. So I'll get the hot glue gun out, and I will glue the eyes into position, glue the jewels into there with the wires coming through, and then glue this somewhere. I'm actually wondering, what do I need? Positive comes in the slip ring and then goes out to here, I guess. Goes down to there, and then Tony's going anywhere else. Not really. So on this, I could, where's it gone? Could have that attached onto there. Attach it something else. Have another one for positive, negative, and a signal wire. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. That works in my head. Okay, hot glue, and when we get back, it should look a little tidier. Okay, I'm about halfway through. The hot glue cobwebs everywhere. The eyes hot glued in, as is that eye. As you can see, I've moved the Maestro from the bottom because the dome lock could be in the way for me to be able to plug the servo connects in. Because it's the wrong size Maestro, it's now facing that way. Shows it's going to make programming interesting, isn't it? Alright, I'll spin that round. And then I've moved the connections for the LED to the first servo pin. Down there. Those are glued in, ready to be rewired back together. In fact, we do that now. Okay, so those are rewired back together, and I remember to label them so I know which one's the middle and the right. Isn't it? And then they can just be hot glued in, effectively. Yeah, they can be hot glued in, and then the data connection is sent back. Sorry, the connection is sent back through that in a minute. First, I'm going to move the Maestro again. Right. Are you going to see this? So the Maestro is now plugged in that way, so I can put the USB cable in, and I've got access back to that USB cable on the Nano again, and you can just see a bit of light bleed there. But I've plugged it in. I want to check everything still works, so just spin this round and very gently lift it up. You can see ladder light going, blue LED, and 2 blue lights. So that's working, the wiring's working. Happy with that. Haven't managed to break it. So yes, this is a bit messy, but as you can see here, the wiring tidy up points here. So when I come to tidy up all the wiring, I'll do that. Even though that block is designed for these to go horizontally, I've done it vertically because it's easier for me to get to the clips. They're a pain to get to the clips underneath. I need positive and negative power coming from the slip ring, going to at least there. I don't think there's anywhere else that needs power, because everything else in here is powered by that. And I need the data coming out of the slip ring, going into that as well. Unfortunately, I've only got 2 double connectors left. Double waveguides, I've only got 2 of those left. I do have 3. I'm tempted to put 3s in anyway, in case I do need to break power out somewhere else. So yeah, I'm going to probably mount them in the same orientation that way, just so it's easy to get to. Although that dome lock, I'll manage. And they're not glued in. They're, because of the glue around the edge of the eye, they're just now push fit. They're fairly strong. It might work loose over time, but if I just make sure that's part of the check procedures before turning chopper on, it's to sort of start plugging all these servo cables in just so they're tidied up. I also need to make the wiring from the periscope into a servo cable as well. The first step is to get the rest of the power hooked up into here, with a power lead going into the Maestro ready for the power from the slip ring. Then get all the servo cables plugged in so they're all being tidied out of the way. Then sort that servo cable out. That, I think, that's the electronics done. Obviously the servos need programming, or the Maestro needs programming, but I can do that at a later date. This is more just getting the electronics in, getting it basically tidied up ready so I can start using it even if it doesn't have any animations. Well, that was hard to get out. So yeah, I'll carry on with that. Right, so just been playing around with the wiring. I've got the arms out. I've got the doors open. I'm still covered in hot glue spiderweb webs. Yeah. Just as bad as normal spider webs. Anyway, I've got the arms out, got the doors open. So essentially that's the limit, well certainly in case the arms, that's the limit of the servos of how far they're going to move. It means I'm going to need servo extension wires to get most of the wires over here. Or in the case of when the arms go back down here, they're going to be further away from the maestro. That is already starting to be annoying, so that's going to get zip tied to itself across there like that. That's for the power and negative coming out the slip ring. There wasn't enough room to get another one on and still be able to unhook these, so I just glued one there, and that's going to be for data, so which means there's another long wire going for data to there, which is fine. Once they're in, they're hardly going to be moved. The idea anyway. Yeah, servo extension cables. I'm going to sort this cable out because it is quite delicate. It is quite delicate. I think I'm going to keep the whole length. Actually, no, I don't need to. Yes, I do, because this will go up, which means I need to add about that much length. Easy if it wasn't on the floor, if it wasn't on the table. See what the full extension is. But yeah, I can still do that, just move it off the table slightly. Yeah, that's where I am at the moment. I need some servo extension cables. I don't have any. Could make some, but you saw how bad I was at making my own servo cables anyway. I might be ordering some. Yeah, I've got to make that one anyway. Now I know that that's negative, signal, positive, so it's that way around, isn't it? Positives in the middle, signal, and then negative. Let's short it out. There anyway. So make that to a servo cable. And that keeps that a little safer. I'm going to work out what the full length I need to be. That I can just plug into the maestro. I'll probably choose position 2, possibly even the last position. I want to try and bunch all the servos together, so I know that I know 1, 2, 3 is for the periscope, 3, 4, 5, 6 is for this arm, 6, 7, 8 this arm, that sort of thing. 9 and 10 are for the doors. And then obviously 12 is going to be the LED. I've got one servo connection left. That was close, wasn't it? Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I used 12. No, I've used all 12. All 12. Wow. Really did cut that close, didn't I? Could have gone for an 18. Oh well. Oh well, I've got enough. I can always move the LED and power it off the Arduino if needs to be. Or even directly into these regular connectors here on the maestro board. Everything's here. I've got all this space here, but everything's here. Oh. Yeah, I'll do this, and then I'm going to decide how to do this. So I started looking things up. Got all the servos hooked up for that. They're all the right length. That's fine. I extended the periscope out to full depth, and that's fine. I've connected made the loose wires into a servo cable and tested it with my Arduino code that I used on the short a few months ago. That's still working. Perfect. So that's plugged in. So I've got 0 is the main LED light. 1 is the LED for the periscope, and then 2 and 3 are the servos for the periscope. I've also hooked up on position number 3 the so this servo down here that moves, does that, and then I need servo extension wires for these 3, these 4 to plug into there. I've started doing some cable tidying. Just trying to keep it a little neater while I'm trying to work out what I'm doing. I'm also constantly checking with the USB plug that things are still working. I mean, admittedly I'm only powering it via the Nano, but as long as the LEDs are working, which they are. Now that I started plugging servos in, there's not enough power coming off the USB for obvious reasons to power the Maestro, but I'm not worried. I'm getting at least a light. So I think the next step is actually to run some power from here back into the Maestro board, so that's coming off the slip ring. That also means I potentially do a 12-volt test off a battery and make sure that everything does power up properly. Still, after making that servo cable, I'm a bit more confident about making servo extension cables. More about routing them. I mean, these ones effectively are going to have to sort of live. I have to sort of go this way. Yes. But then the arms are going to slam down on top. I mean, this one could easily route. Can't really see it, can you? It's harder to see. See, it's because I can't move it with the arms. I mean, still can't see it. This servo cable here could route easily that way, and just have a little servo extension cable going that way. And these ones, if the arm was always in this position, these ones are long enough. As soon as the arm goes down, but actually that one might be long enough. Yeah, that one's long enough. Yeah. Ooh. No, it's just too short. Oh, that's annoying. Like the smallest extension cable ever. Yeah, so even if I put the arms down, these cables are right there. Yeah, so even if the arms go back down, what we're really left with, I suppose I could run the two. Oh, might fit. So something's going on with the 9-on wire there. Pretty animation going on there. Might be when I was painting. Anyway, I'll keep playing. Right, so I've been doing some more playing around, and we now have those that go off to the mag tag. Windows notification. Yeah, these are going into the mag tag. You've got the two data. Again, two data connections here. The Kyber system says it needs a TX and RX. I'm not quite sure if that's true, but I'll wired both up anyway. Going to the TX and RX on the Maestro board. I said we've now got power going into the Maestro board itself, sorry, into the red light board. I need to have some wires coming out of here to go back to, to go with this along with the slip ring. And then it's just the servo extension wires, which I'm going to order, making these female connector ends go on here. Yeah, making the female ends to go on here were a pain. So I think we'll just get some ones that are ready made. Aren't going to cause me problems. What is going to cause me problems is this. That's going to cause me issues. I'm going to zip tie it for that. Yeah, I'm going to zip tie it to the. Yeah, I'll do that. But yeah, I can't really do any more on the dome now until. Yeah, until I get the servo extension wires. Sorry, I've completely forgotten what I was saying then. Yeah, once I've got the servo extension wires, I can switch that off. Right, As you can see here, I've got the servo extension wires and I've wired them all in. I've done a little bit more tidying up of the wiring looms. I don't think it's ever going to be pretty, but as long as the cables aren't going to get caught, that's the main thing. That's all cabled up. I've used every single servo connection, and that's ready for connection to the slip ring. And yeah, I think we're all ready to go. And yeah, that's it. So that is the dome ready. Well, apart from programming that Maestro, but yeah, that's the dome ready. What do you think? So yeah, he's not turned on at the moment, admittedly, but I'm pleased with that. All the servos are in, all the wiring's done. Might still tidy up a bit of wiring here and there. So the only thing left to do really is just program that Maestro to do the animations. I think I'm going to wait until the mag tag's done. I can power it off the battery, the chopper's actual battery. Reason being is I don't want to be high enough off the ground at that point. I don't want to knock things unnecessarily, so I will have a wire trailing out from the programming board on the Maestro, but fine. Yeah, so that's the electronics done. The next step is really would be painting the body and the legs. I'm going to get on with that in the next few days, and hopefully, if not next week, the week after, there should be a video of me having the body done. I want to get painting done for DBU 14th of August, 13th of August. Only a few weeks. Well, it's a month today at recording, or 4 weeks to get proper painted. I'm perfectly happy with not all the Maestro commands working. I'll be more, just having him rolling, looking like Chopper, be perfect. Especially with all the live action add-ons, that'd be something pretty unique at the moment. Even though Mike is already rolling out live action Chopper printable files, still be one of the first live action Choppers from version 1.5 we're going. Anyway, rambling again. So yeah, next step is painting the body, and then probably hooking up the last final, doing the mag tags, which I've got a prototype here. A bit complicated, isn't it? But essentially, do size and then got the magnets and just go like that. That's a prototype. It might change slightly. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.